Welcome to the TV 30 Opinionator, News and Views. I'm Arnie Pickholtz with Milt Thomas. We're speaking with Janice Broda, who is running for the Indian River Mosquito Control District seat.
Janice, tell us a bit about your background.
I have served on the Indian River Mosquito Control District Board since 1992. In 1991, I was hired by the Florida Medical Entomology Laboratory, a University of Florida research center devoted to the study of mosquitoes. I was hired to write instructional software for mosquito control districts, and I became fascinated by mosquitoes. I wanted to use that knowledge for the public and to protect public health, and that's why I first ran. Since then, I've continued to work at the Florida Medical Entomology Lab, learning more about mosquitoes that allow me to make wise decisions for the taxpayers. I hold a master's degree in economics from Washington University in St. Louis, Missouri, and a bachelor's degree in economics from New College of Florida. So I'm well versed in financial matters, as well as have a substantial understanding of mosquitoes and mosquito control issues.
You ran your first campaign in 1991. And I understand that you just have a thing for mosquitoes. What led you to that run?
I ran for Mosquito Control Board in 1991 because I became fascinated with mosquitoes, the diseases that they carry, and how we can control them when I was working at the Florida Medical Entomology Lab, a University of Florida research center devoted to the study of mosquitoes located in Vero Beach.
Looking back over your long tenure with the board, what can you point out as the things that you're most proud of?
I am most proud of the environmental record of the Indian River Mosquito Control District. Over the years that I've served, the district has managed to control mosquitoes better, using less pesticides and taking great measures to protect the natural resources along the Indian River Lagoon.
What would you have done differently, looking back again, in terms of your position and the strong points and the weak points, but what do you think you would have done differently?
I am not sure there is much that I would change. Certainly there are some decisions that I would make differently with hindsight, but at the moment those seem to be the right decisions for the taxpayers and for our community.
Janice, how do you see mosquito control efforts relating to our environmental and lagoon preservation efforts? Are they compatible?
The Indian River Mosquito Control District, working in concert with the Florida Medical Entomology Laboratory and Harbor Branch Oceanographic Institute, have pioneered techniques to control the production of salt marsh mosquitoes along the Indian River Lagoon that have environmental benefits and that protect the fisheries. We need to control the mosquitoes, otherwise none of us would want to live here, but it can be done with care in an environmentally sensitive and compatible manner.
Janice, back in 2018, 2 years ago, there was a very strident situation that came up where Johns Island, one of the beachside communities, attempted to install a private pipeline for reuse water, but it would go under the lagoon. It would come from the mainland, go under the lagoon. And the mosquito board, including you, were very much against that. And as a result, I think primarily of your feelings against it or your concern against it, it didn't happen. So what was it about that that was the problem? And why did you handle it that way with the county?
I was chair of the Indian River Mosquito Control District when the wastewater reuse pipeline issue came before the board. When we first considered the issue, I voted against it based on engineering reports provided by the county's utilities department. The issue returned to the board, and at that time I realized I had a conflict of interest because I worked for a sister corporation of Johns Island, which was proposing this project. The other two commissioners voted the project down, and later the Indian River County Commission, after a long meeting with substantial public comment, also voted against the project.
As a follow-up to that, what do you think the possibilities are that that could come up as an issue again?
I do not know what Johns Island intends to do about that issue. It is possible that it might come up again, but I don't expect it to return in the same form.
Well, are there instances where non-competitive bids are awarded to vendors, Janice, and why?
Most items are put out to competitive bid or a request for qualifications, which is the process that governmental agencies use to select attorneys, engineers, and other professionals. On occasion, we have purchased vehicles via the state bid from the sheriff's department. So we have not formally bid those vehicles, but we are piggybacking on another agency that has done extensive competitive bidding for those products. We recently purchased some new software, and we did that as a request for proposals to ensure that we received quotes from vendors who were the best qualified to meet the unique needs of tracking mosquito-related issues.
Besides the RFP, Janice, there's also something called an RFQ. And with that, it's a request for qualifications. What do you do in the case that you have only one bidder on a project because they only meet the qualifications that are designated for that job?
Requests for qualifications are used for hiring professionals like attorneys and engineers. Requests for proposals cover other kinds of projects. If we receive only one acceptable request and the price seems appropriate based on the recommendations of engineers, attorneys, and other professionals, we might consider taking that proposal. But there have been cases when we have re-advertised to see if we could not get a better deal. I also should mention that our aerial larviciding services, the yellow airplane that flies low to deliver a biorational granular material over the mangroves, is a sole bid. They are the only vendor available to us, and St. Lucie County, Martin County Mosquito Control, and the Indian River Mosquito Control District are glad to be able to use their services rather than to tax our community to have an airplane, a pilot, a mechanic, and replacement parts.
Well, we're talking about good deals. Do you feel that the Mosquito Control Taxing District is a good deal for taxpayer dollars?
Yes, I do. Every election season, there are people who come forth and claim that oodles and oodles of tax dollars are wasted. And that just is not the case. So, an average homeowner who has a $150,000 home with a $50,000 simple homestead exemption will pay $25.51 a year for mosquito control this year. The tax rate has remained unchanged for the last 4 years, and unfortunately, my motion for a tax rate reduction died for lack of a second.
Now, Janice, you've served on the board for 28 years. In this age of people wanting term limits, of course, there are no term limits here. But don't you think it's time for, pardon the expression, some new blood?
Yes, I have served the taxpayers of Indian River County for 28 years. And over those 28 years, there have been substantial improvements to the control of mosquitoes and substantial changes in the technology that's used. There also have been new diseases. Zika, the most newsworthy, and chikungunya and West Nile encephalitis. They all came during my tenure. And we need public servants who understand mosquito control issues to protect the public health. I would welcome new blood with a sustained interest in mosquito control and a proven record of public service.
And that wraps up our interview with Janice Broda, who is running for the Indian River Mosquito Control District seat. My name's Arnie Pickholz, and I'm with Milt Thomas, and have a good day.